Yes. Hello, everyone. Abaragani. Nia Abaragani. We begin each day of our Kwanzaa celebration with the question, Habaragani. And Habaragani means, what's the news? And you respond with the principle for today. So when I say Habaragani, you say Nia Abaragani. You ready? I'm gonna count to 3 and let's do it together. 1, 2, 3. Habaragani.
Nia
Habaragani. All right, Ashe. Hello, I'm Josephine Bolger Anderson, supervisor of the South End branch of the Ferguson Library and the Bookmobile. And on behalf of the Ferguson team, we would like to thank you for joining us. On behalf of the mayor's office and them hosting every year, we said thank you for joining us, and all our sponsors. Thank you so very much for joining us today. I will serve as your mistress of ceremony, and we will keep things going. Just want you to know that this is not entertainment. This is cultural, and we want you to enjoy it. And we're ready to begin with our drum call. We begin every program with the drum call. So at this time, we will have our drum call by Master Henry Jones. Mr. Jones, take it away. Mr. Jones and Baba for that drum call. Now, before we continue our celebration, I need permission from my elders to continue. So if there is anyone out there in virtual land who is over 60, may I have your permission to continue?
You do.
Please proceed to Thank you. Thank you. Permission granted. Thank you very much. We will now have our welcome.
Can you get on your phone and just get on your phone?
By the Honorable Caroline Simmons. For the last 27 years or so, the Kwanzaa celebration, the citywide Kwanzaa celebration have been hosted at the Government Center by the current mayor. And we are so pleased to present to some and introduce to others our mayor, Ms. Caroline Simmons. Ms. Mayor? Okay.
Josephine, I know the mayor will be joining momentarily, so let me just make sure she's coming on. I'm so sorry for the pause.
Well, that's okay. We will continue with the program, and when the mayor is available, you can come in and give her hearty welcome. Thank you so very much.
No problem.
At this time,
Thank
we will
you.
continue with our program, and our mayor can just speak at will. Just let us know when you're on. Thank you so very much. At this time, we will have our libation and the history of Kwanzaa by Mr. Michael Hyman. Mr. Hyman is a very good friend of the library and the community. He is the managing consultant for Equity Institute, and he's the director of the Institute, and he works at Domus for Kids Incorporated. Let's give Mr. Hyman, Michael Hyman, a big hand as he comes to do the libation. Mr. Hyman?
Well, thank you so much, Mrs. Anderson. Again, we are so happy that we've made it to the 27th year of celebrating Kwanzaa in the city of Stamford in conjunction with others. And I noted in the chat that there was someone who wanted to see us gather in person. And so we're all prayerful and hopeful that that will actually happen next year, but that will require some of the principles of the day on collective cooperation from all of us as a community to make that happen. One important thing about Kwanzaa is that it is not a religious holiday, but it is a day that is meant to recognize the strength, the endurance, and the aspirations of African peoples all over the world. And so one of the things that we do, you heard Mrs. Anderson ask for permission from the elders to start, because we revere those individuals and we understand whose shoulders we stand on. And so it's important that in any community that our elders be a part of that. What we will do in recognition of not only our elders, but also of the land and also of the fruit that come from that land. We will pour a libation. And so that in this particular case, I would usually have a cup, but in this instance, my cup went by the wayside during a recent flooding of my basement a while back. So I'll need to replace that. But we're going to use a picture here. And so I have a plant that's right next to me. And when I pour the libation, what you will say afterwards is ashe, which is to suggest that we all agree and we understand. And in this instance, I will begin to pour a libation first for our ancestors who came before us, those who shared the toil, the turmoil, the pain, but also the glory of being Africans in their own world and Africans in a new world here in America. And so now I pour that libation, and all of you may say ashe. I can hear you now, even though your microphones are muted. We pour a libation in honor of the land of Africa that nurtured so many and continues to be a nurturing place for so many today. We pour a libation understanding that this land belongs not to any of us, for we are merely stewards of it, whether we are here in America or whether we are across the seas in other places. We pour a libation for our children. Those are our real dear fruit, the ones that matter to us most. And we pour a libation in hopes and in honor of their care, going forward into a future that thrives and is of use to all of us. Ashe. We also pour a libation for everyone across the world, that the idea that we should all know peace, but that we should all work collectively together to attain it. And I pour that libation now, and I ask that all of you say Ashe. So we also have just a bit of history for you about Kwanzaa. As I said before, Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday. In fact, it started during the 1960s, and I will read for you so that I make sure that I get it right. Dr. Mulana Karinge, professor and chairman of Black Studies at California State University in Long Beach, California, created Kwanzaa in 1966. Now, that's a statement in itself, that there was a Black Studies program in 1966 was a wonder to all of us because many places at that time did not have that. After the Watts riot in Los Angeles, Dr. Karinga searched for ways to bring African Americans together as a community. He founded a cultural organization and started to research African first fruits, or the first harvest celebrations. Karinga combined aspects of several different harvest celebrations, such as those of the Ashanti and those of the Zulu, to form the basis of a week-long Kwanzaa celebration. This year, Kwanzaa is Sunday, December 26th through Saturday, January 1st. The name Kwanzaa is derived from the phrase Matunda da Kwanzaa, which means first fruits in Swahili. Each family celebrates Kwanzaa in its own way, but celebrations often include songs, dance, which we often have had at our programs here, African drums, storytelling, poetry reading, which you will hear today, and a large traditional meal. And I trust that all of you will enjoy one. On each of the 7 nights, the family gathers and a child lights one of the candles on the Kinara. And Mrs. Anderson has one of those in front of you if you will take a look at her screen. And in the Kinara, there are 7 principles, or at least there are 7 principles that are discussed. The principles include Nguze Saba, which is the meaning of the total 7 principles. And that what we want to do is to reinforce those principles all across our community. And so in celebration of that, there's the lighting of the candles that will happen in the ceremony today. And the first night, the black candle in the center is lit and the principle of Umoja, which is unity, is discussed. But you will hear about all of the principles that are in store. And our speaker today who will talk about Nia, which is purpose. I thank you so much for sharing with us and being here. I see that our mayor has arrived and is on screen. And so, Madam Mayor, we are so happy to have you here for the 27th Kwanzaa and invite you to speak at this time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael, and thank you to everyone. I'm so honored to be with you, and I want to say happy holidays and happy Kwanzaa to all of you. This is the city's 27th annual tradition of celebrating Kwanzaa, and I couldn't be more grateful to be with you all to say a few words on this important and beautiful holiday. Thank you, Michael, for sharing more of the background and importance of this holiday. And it's such an important way to celebrate and recognize the rich contribution of African-American people and the values that this holiday espouses. As you all heard, the 7 nights where families come together to celebrate different principles is truly an inspiration. The principles of unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. These are, such important values that I think are an important reminder for us, not only on this holiday, but every day of the year to strive for. So I want to thank you for bringing these to our community, for all the contributions that you and your family make to our city, to our state, to our country. And thank you for spreading these messages and principles of hope and joy and love, and for striving for a society that is more just and inclusive, and free from violence and hate. So I just want to say, on behalf of the city, happy Kwanzaa. I hope you and your family have a beautiful holiday. I hope 2022 is a brighter year full of health and prosperity. And just want to say how honored I am to get to be mayor of this city with such wonderful people like all of you. And I'm looking forward to participating in the celebration today and learning more. And thank you again for having me, and happy Kwanzaa, everyone.
Recording.
Thank you so very much. We would certainly want to thank our mayor for that warm welcome. And Mr. Hyman, truly, we thank you for the libation and for giving us the history of Kwanzaa. As Mr. Hyman stated earlier, these are all of the symbols that we use to celebrate Kwanzaa. He mentioned the cup that he poured libation with. There's also corn on the table, and this corn represents the number of children that you have in your family. There's a mat, and that's the foundation. The Kanara is like the family that's kind of hold everything together. On our Kwanzaa table, we also have gifts and books. We do encourage the joy of reading. And at this time, we're going to practice the Nguzo Saba, which is the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is really centered around the 7 principles. So we have a community participation. And at this time, we're going to ask our participants to come on and share their principle, tell us your name, one thing you'd like for us to know about you, and we'll light the candle. Okay, you ready? I think the Hurst family is first.
Good afternoon. My name is Kingston Hurst, and one thing is, I'll say reading. Reading is my favorite subject. And Umoja means unity, to strive for and to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Thank you.
Umoja, so I like the first candle, which is the black candle. Thank you. The Green family, you're next.
Kuchichakalia, self-determination, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create and speak for ourselves.
Thank
Natalia,
you. Kuchichakalia,
Ashe,
Ashe.
Hi, I'm Brendan, and one thing I like to do is take care of my sister.
all right, Brandon, all
Awesome.
right,
Okay, thank you. The
Ujima,
next principle is Ujama.
Ujima, cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stores and other businesses and to profit from them together.
And I like the next candle.
Ma,
Did you want to share something? Or you already did, thank you. Next. I think the green,
Rams or more.
There you go. Go ahead, Enza.
I am Enza Samora, and I'm a fourth grade scholar at Stanford Charter School for Excellence. Ujima, collective work and responsibility, to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together.
okay, thank you. And I like the next candle.
I have Nia. I'm Valerie Bowling. You'll hear more from me later. As we said, today is Nia, and it means purpose. And purpose means maintaining the dignity of our ancestors and making them proud by supporting our families, building communities, and opening businesses. Nia.
Ashe.
My name is Angie, and I am a sophomore at Stratford High School, and I like dancing and playing the violin and piano. My principle is Kumba, which means to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it.
Ashe. Thank you, Angie. Just want to explain that we do not light the other two candles because today is the 5th day. And each day we light a candle, but we do want to share the meaning of the principle, so we will ask the next guest to go. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Do you hear echo? My apologies. Stop it. My name is Ronice Felicia Latta. I am a local author. And the principle and final principle is Imani, which means faith. To believe with all our heart in our people, our families, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle.
Okay. Thank you so very much. Okay. We will now have some more drumming by Infinite Roots. Just want to thank everyone for sharing our 7 principles. And we encourage everyone, not just the 7 days that we celebrate Kwanzaa, but every day is a good time to celebrate the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Okay.
Ahmed? We should have a video.
Yes.
There we go.
We have to flow with technology. Everything's fine. Hey, thank you so very much for that cultural expression. We will continue with cultural expressions through poetry. And at this time, we ask our guests to come on, share one thing you want us to know about you, and share your cultural expression at this time. Thank you.
Hello, I am Tishiana Arma, and I am the proud mother of these two young ladies.
Hi, I'm Naayele Arma. I love to write, and my dad is from Ghana. Hi, my name is Charlotte, and I like to play the drum.
All right, and we are going to recite a poem by Alfonso Silveros called Kwanzaa. It is the light of candles that shines brightly after a long journey of darkness that empowers my soul and proclaims my place in the culture of humanity.
It is the sounds that vibrate across the earth with an echo that whispers and sings my song. It is the smell of nameless souls long gone that was cast out of the family of man whose scent dwells beneath my skin.
It is the taste of the pain of yesterday with the flavor of hope for tomorrow, proclaiming, here I stand.
It is the touching of my heart with your heart in joyful celebration of the sacrifice of our ancestors.
Wow, that was awesome. Did you write that poem?
Not for this year. This year, this was written by Alfonso Silveros. If you invite us again, we'll write one.
Okay, is that a promise? Okay. Thank you so very much, and thank the children. We truly like to include our children. It's a family celebration. It's not for adults. It's not political. It's not religious. It's culture. So we truly am very grateful that you brought the children in to share. You guys did an excellent, excellent job. And I'm sure everyone have a library card, right? All right, okay. Yes, with the library card. Thank you all so very much. Thank all our participants so far. This is just awesome. Thank you so very much. At this time, we're actually going to have another cultural experience from Infinite Roots. And after that, I will present our speaker for today who will highlight our principle. Infinite Roots.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jones is always on time, I tell
Bye-bye.
Ashe, Ashe. Thank you so much. Is everyone having fun and enjoying our celebration?
Ashe.
What is the principle for today?
Nia.
All right. It is my pleasure to introduce our featured speaker for today. She is my daughter friend, and she is none other than Valerie Bowling. She has been an educator for over 30 years and has been writing since she was 4 years old. Young people, you hear that? She graduated from Tufts University and Columbia University and teaches college and is currently serving as an instructional coach. Now, Valerie loves to read, she loves to dance, she loves to write, she likes to hike, go to theaters and do all kinds of fun things. But her nieces inspired her to write the book she's going to talk about today. And the book is entitled Let's Dance. As I stated earlier, Valerie loves to dance. Now, she wrote this book and it came out just before the pandemic started. So we had a big celebration and she has been busy on the circuit, engaged in a lot of story times and panel discussions. So at this time, let's give Ms. Valerie Bowling and her husband, Sheldon. Thank you, Sheldon, for all your support. At this time, let's give Ms. Valerie Bowling a great big Kwanzaa welcome. Ms. Valerie?
Thank you so much. It is absolutely my pleasure to be here with all of you today to celebrate Kwanzaa. It's truly an honor. Let's start though by seeing what you remember. Habaragani. I'm imagining you're all saying Nia. I know you're muted. And as you know, we start each day of Kwanzaa, as Mrs. Anderson said, with Habaragani, which means what's the news? And we respond with the principle of today, of each day. And today it is Nia, the 5th day of Kwanzaa. Before I continue, I want to thank the sponsors of today's event, the City of Stamford, especially Mayor Caroline Simmons, the Ferguson Library, especially Mrs. Anderson. She has a very special place in my heart, and to hear her refer to me as daughter just made me warm all over. She's the one who invited me to speak at this event today. Domus Kids, Infinite Roots, we've been treated to their fabulous cultural expressions. Stamford Kwanzaa Association and Stamford Stands Against Racism. As I said, I'm honored to be the speaker for today's program. Earlier, I told you what Nia means in the context of Kwanzaa, which is maintaining the dignity of our ancestors and making them proud by supporting our families, building communities, and opening businesses. This is an important purpose for Black people, to remember our ancestors, to honor our families, and to contribute to our community in positive ways. There are a number of ways we can do this. Each of us needs to determine our own purpose and then work hard to follow through with it so that we can exhibit purpose in a way that benefits others. One of the surest ways to follow through on a purpose or achieve a dream is to set a goal. I'm going to share my story about becoming a children's author to demonstrate Nia, and it started with a goal. Each year, my husband Sheldon and I set goals. We set goals as a couple, and we also set goals as individuals. And in 2017, we were fresh off of a visit with our nieces. Mrs. Anderson referred to them in the introduction, and they are now 7 and 9. But at that time, they were obviously much younger, and they had been with us at this time. And I think we had actually, that was the year we had taken them to the annual Kwanzaa event at the government center. And so, I was reading a lot of stories to them, and I began to think, what are the stories I want to be able to read to them? What are the stories I believe that they should be able to hear, as well as other young children? And having been an elementary school teacher, I know that I struggled to find diverse literature for my students. And I struggled to find books where students could see themselves and also where they could learn about others. And I felt, this might be something I'd like to do. I've always been a writer. I've written poetry. I wrote stories as a kid. I've had articles published in magazines. Maybe I could look into children's book writing. So my goal for that year was simply to explore the possibility. I didn't necessarily say, oh, I want to get a book published, but I said, let me just look into this. Let me do my research and see if it's something that's possible. And so I explored. I spoke to people who gave me some ideas. I took a children's book writing class. I read lots of children's books, and I learned more about picture book writing. And so again, remember, I set that goal in January of 2017. So that June was when I wrote the first draft of Let's Dance. And I shared it with a friend who gave me some feedback. I revised the story. And at the beginning of 2018, I said, let me send it out and see if someone's interested. And then that June, so a full year later after the first draft, there was an editor who was interested in it. And I knew at that time when I wrote this book, I had a vision that it would feature diverse children of different races, of different sizes, of different ability levels. And I went to the editor with that idea. And you know what she did? She expanded upon it. My purpose became greater. She saw greater purpose in my story. She saw that it could be a global story about dances from around the world. So where I had written tappity tap fingers snap and imagined that would feature tap dancing, she saw flamenco dance from Spain. And where I thought glide and slide side to side would be the cha-cha slide or the electric slide, she saw it as Chinese long sleeve dancing. So the purpose of my book became even greater. And I was so happy about that. And then it takes 2 years, believe it or not, for a picture book to be published because they have to find an illustrator and they have to have time to market the book. And so the book, even though I signed the contract in July of 2018, the book was not published until March of 2020. And let me tell you, I just made it in before the COVID shutdown. The book came out March 3rd, which was a Tuesday. That Saturday, we had a huge celebration at the Ferguson Library at the Harry Bennett branch, and Mrs. Anderson was the mistress of ceremonies for the event, and we did dance. A friend of mine, Deanna, who's a dance instructor, led us in dance, and we just had a fabulous time. And then a week later, things shut down. So I began to think about, how can I still get the word out? How can I still reach children? How can I still fulfill my purpose and do something for the community? And that's when I said, kids are at home. They don't have a lot of activities. So I reached out to bookstores. I reached out to libraries, anyone who was doing virtual events. I offered my services for free. I wanted to be able to do something and to give back to the community and to get kids moving, especially, they're at home for distance learning. They need to get up, they need to move, they need to experience joy. So again, I continued to think about my purpose. Then in June of 2020, I signed with an agent. I didn't have an agent previously, and he sold more of my books. And so that has expanded my purpose. I now have 8 more books on the way 2 of which will come out in 2022, which I'm very happy about. So now my purpose, thank you, I see those of you clapping. So now my purpose is to continue to write more books, to continue to write books that children will want to read so they can learn more about themselves, so they can learn about others who may be different from them. And so they can also see how we're all connected and how we can all experience joy together. Also, my purpose is to get more involved in the community, like speaking at this event and other events. Also connecting with more schools, libraries, bookstores, festivals, conferences. In this way, my purpose can expand. So what started as a simple exploration of writing picture books has turned into my publishing purpose. And I, as I said, want to keep writing more books to share with children, and I want to encourage children to read. I know some of the children—
if you can be quiet, you can.
Some of the children said they like to read and they like to write, and I'm so happy to hear that. So I want to ask you, what's your purpose? I encourage you, every one of you, from the youngest person in our audience to the eldest, I want you to find a purpose that you can explore in the new year in honor of Kwanzaa, in honor of Nia today. The new year presents a great opportunity to reflect upon Nia and to think about what you might continue to do or start to do to make a positive contribution to your family and community. Each of us has many purposes we can fulfill, and I encourage you just to choose one and see it through. Will you learn to ride a hoverboard to entertain family and friends? Will you learn how to make pottery or another art form to beautify your community? Will you become a better student, spouse, friend to benefit yourself, your family, and your community? And this is important. Who will keep you accountable? Some of the people who keep me accountable are my critique partners. And one is here today, Lindsay, with her 2 beautiful girls, Emma and Holly. She's really my writing partner. We're in touch constantly. We've already been in touch several times today, in fact. And we keep each other encouraged on our journey. We give each other specific feedback about our writing, but if we're feeling a little down or discouraged, we pick each other up. When we have something to celebrate, we're there to cheerlead each other. So think about who that person can be for you. Is it a good friend? Is it a spouse or a partner or a family member? Kwanzaa is about community, so we need community to help us achieve our purpose. So I'm going to end with a quote from singer Marian Anderson. If you have a purpose in which you can believe, there's no end to the amount of things you can accomplish. Habaragani. I hear my husband saying Nia, and I'm sure the rest of you are as well. Happy Kwanzaa, and may you have a Nia-filled 2022. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Valerie, for sharing your story and your purpose with us today. That was awesome. And Ms. Valerie asked, you know, she's an educator, and she asked some very interesting questions. And we really want you to think about it, to really think about the question that she asked. And what's your goal? What's your purpose? And next year, this time, you'll be able to share your purpose and how you began your purpose and what you like to do. Thank you so very much, Ms. Valerie. From my heart to yours. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
And as we continue with our Kwanzaa celebration, we have another cultural expression. And this young lady, her name is Angie Manigat. She came to this library. We're at the South End branch of the Ferguson Library. And Angie's parents brought her here when she was, I guess, about a month old. the library was the first place that Mr. and Mrs. Manigat brought Angie. Now, Angie is a 10th grader at Stratford High School, where she is an honor student. And she's ranked 20th nationally. She plays in her school orchestra, and she serves on the debate team. Go Angie. And she's the vice president of the student council. Angie loves to dance, Miss Valerie. She loved ballet and jazz and modern dance. And we're going to see a little of her action today as she comes. She loved to play the piano. As a matter of fact, she has presented here playing the piano. Probably was her first performance here at the library. And yes, Angie Manigat does have a library card. She regularly attends the academy and youth orchestra. She enjoys entertaining her family, the community homes. Whenever we ask Angie to come and share her talents to perform at the library in the community, she's always available. And we continue to support her. And at this time, Angie Manigat, please come and share your talent with us.
The river.
Hold my hand, ooh baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand, ooh baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. If you get sleep or if you get night, the cock's gonna call in the morning, baby. And check the cupboard for your daddy's gun. Red sun rises like an early warning. The Lord's gonna come for your firstborn son. His hair's on fire and his heart is burning. So go to the river where the water runs. Wash him deep where the tides are turning. And if you fall, and if you fall, hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. The wolves will chase you by the pale moonlight. Drunk and driven by a devil's hunger. Drive your son like a railroad spine into the water, let it pull him under. But though you lift him, let him drown alive. The good Lord speaks like a rolling thunder. Let that fever make the water rise. Let the river run dry. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way, a long, long, long way. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way. Hold on now. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down.
Let's give Angie a big hand. Was that awesome or what?
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much, Angie, for sharing your talent with us today. As we continue to celebrate Kwanzaa, the fifth principle of Kwanzaa, and as we go through life and living our lives, we always standing on the shoulders of someone. We did not make it where we are alone. The African proverb say it takes a village, and certainly does take a village. Even the present village is good, but we're standing on shoulders of people that go farther back. So we would like to remember our ancestors and those whose shoulders we stand on today. And Henry Jones, he's one of my sons here in Stamford, Connecticut, is going to remember our ancestors. He said, "Mar," he says, "there's something I need to do." So at this time, Henry Jones, who was a drama, he's an artist, he's a sculptor, many things, but most of all, he is a son of the community. And at this time, Mr. Jones, will you please come and share with us and do the ancestral call? Thank you.
I certainly will. Abaragani, everyone. This is so refreshing and challenging on so many levels because we all do want to be together and be close to each other, but times are dictating different energies right now, and we've got to separate. However, what Ms. Anderson is speaking about is the most powerful part of what I feel Kwanzaa is. If we don't take the time to recognize, and not only recognize for ourselves who our ancestors are, we also have to teach it to our children. One of the things that, and Mr. Hyman, I want to thank you, is largely responsible for, is bringing a great many children to the Kwanzaa celebration so that we can work with the children. They can hear our words and hear it coming from us, and not just the teachers in their schools. Hear some learning in the community. And our children are always at a loss for who the ancestors are. And we ask them to recite an ancestor's name, and they're very confused. Because I don't think that we teach it enough within our own community to have it resonate within them. So today I'm going to mention some people's names. The first four people are catamount to me, having received my first drum when I was in my college years at Williams College in the 80s, and found African elders at Williams College of all places, and they lifted me up. And all of the events that you saw today, our cultural expressions, our past expressions, many of those children have children of their own now. The elders that were present that made all of that happen are gone now. And I think it's important for us with this COVID situation and people passing on, that we really start honoring and teaching about our ancestors. So the first four people I'm going to mention is Baba David Coleman, my godfather, who did the drum call in the opening, who was also playing with another of my godparents on the Ngoni and Gongoma. Chief Bey, his godfather, who's a major drummer in this hemisphere and changed drumming traditions, got us accepted in Africa. Chief Bey is one of those elders. Kimani Denizulu and Kweya Ajipong were the first gentlemen who ever put a drum in my hands in the 80s, and they're all passed on. But in our direct community right now, and it brings tears to my heart that I'm going to recite this many people who have passed in the past since we've been starting Kwanzaa. I'm going to start with E. Philip McCain, one of my elders and leaders and mentors, Max Saxton, George Johnson, Dr. Joyce Yearwood, Elaine Mitchell, Dudley Williams, Bill Callion, Lethan Wider, Sheila Jones, Jack Bryant, Ernie DiMattea, Bill Macklin, Nancy Snell, Melvina Peters. And I know that I'm leaving out some names of other individuals who have helped the community be what the community is, who've helped the community put us in this place where we can reminisce and reflect, and we don't even have to be together to celebrate. And our past celebrations look as vibrant as if they happened right now. So I want to say ashe to these elders who are with us. I want us to remember them. I want their names to come back up again in Kwanzaa, and I want every person within the community, especially our elders, to know that even when they're gone, we are going to celebrate them. And we pray that they lift us up, and we're going to lift them up. If you want to watch a film, and I know this is a quirky thing to say, if you want to watch a film that really resonates about ancestral understanding, watch the movie Coco. And there's interesting concepts in there about why it is important for us to live with the memory of our ancestors and what that does for the community. So I want to say Ashe. At this time, we would all be saying the names of those individuals who've passed on. Of course, it's wonderful to say Malcolm X, all of the usual Dr. Martin Luther King. We know those names, but what makes us stronger is to enhance those names. Let's remember those whose shoulders we stand on. And I say Habaragani, and I say Ashe.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. And if we can just stop and think for a moment in our minds, and you can shout it out, shout the name out if you like, someone who you would like to remember. Let's do that at this time. So excellent. You can put it in the chat also.
Okay.
Put your names in the chat. And we can say Ashe, Ashe. Ashe means amen, and I agree. Okay, thank you all so very much. As we come to the end of our celebration for the 5th day, we would now like to call Mayor Caroline Simmons to come back and just give some remarks. I will give brief remarks, and Mr. Hyman will come and give our Harambe, which means let's pull together. Mayor Simmons, are you still with us? Hear me? We know you're on the line. Some technical difficulties.
What's that, Mom?
The mayor, she's on the line, but we can't hear her.
Oh, okay. Is she mic'd? Is Ahmed here?
Mic, right? She's mic'd, right? She has a microphone.
She's muted and the video is not.
Oh, she's muted.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, we'll continue. All right. My remarks is just thank you. I would like to thank Mayor Caroline Simmons and her staff for supporting this effort and for joining in with us as we celebrated the 27th Kwanzaa. As I said, we usually at the Government Center. I want to thank Mr. Michael Hyman and Tamika Jackson and Henry Jones for helping us pull all this together. We truly do appreciate you and thank you. We would like to thank all of our sponsors, and we would like to thank everyone who participated, every participant. We say thank you. On behalf of the Stanford Kwanzaa Association, the Ferguson Library, the Friends of the Ferguson Library, we just say thank you so very much. And two things that I'm going to do. One, again, Valerie Bowler, we want to thank you again for being our speaker for today. And we want the mayor to know that we're going to present her with an autographed copy of Valerie Bowler's book, Let's Dance, an autographed copy.
Okay.
And Mayor Simmons, this is a kente cloth. And if you were here in person, and COVID wasn't nearby, we would have one of the young children to crown you with your kente cloth that you can wear every year as we celebrate Kwanzaa. But we will certainly keep your gifts and make sure you get them. Val, thank you so much for keeping us connected to the government center and to the mayor. Thank you so very much. Again, from my heart to your heart, I say thank you. Thank Emmanuel Dureste and Ahmed for their technical assistance and for making everything possible. Again, have a safe, healthy, prosperous new year. And please remember the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, and I ask you to live them every day. Mr. Hyman.
Mrs. Anderson, you've said thank you to so many people, but those of us who have worked with you over the years, our hearts are full for all of the work that you do in Stanford and to helping to ensure that this tradition continues. You are such a blessing to all of us, and we appreciate you so much, so very, very much. So we say thank you, and as Mr. Jones said, Ashe. At this point too, there is a special, I received a note that for every young person who is a part of this and is on this call today, if you would have your name placed in the chat, we will be gifting a copy of Ms. Bowling's book to every child that is participating today.
Very nice.
Yes.
Ashe. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. Now, our last portion of today is that there is something called Harambe, and that simply means pulling together. And please forgive me for saying simply, because sometimes that can be very complex, as some of us know. But Harambe, that idea, it's just a single word, but we're going to shout it 7 times. But as we shout Harambe, and on the last one, we're going to hold it for a long time, as E. Philip McCain would always share with everyone, that it's not just Harambe 7 times, but you hold it, that last one. We want to do that, and I want you to think of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, so that for each of those Harambes, one of those should be on your heart. The idea of cooperating, the idea of unity, and all of what it means to all of us. So as we close out today, I can see the names coming in, make sure that the names are here, and if they're not, just to email Mrs. Anderson of the child's name, and we'll make sure that that book gets to you. But now, if we could close out, and if you want to have your microphone on, you can. We'll make a cacophonous noise in this place anyway. So for all that you've been, Harambe. So we'll just
Harambe.
Harambe. The last one, Harambe.
Last one.
Thank you all so much. We will end with some drumming.
Left-hand corner, please.
Also for sale, and they are in the library.
The back section.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Hyman. Thank you for everything you do.
Same here, looking at you, Mr. Jones, for
Appreciate
everything
you.
you've done all of these years. How many has it been
A
since
long
I met that young man down at CTE? Must have been what, 25 years ago? You were 2 or 3 then, right?
Easily, yes.
God bless
Ahmed,
you.
thank you. Are you there, Ahmed?
Thank you.
Yes.
My
Bye,
pleasure, guys.
everyone.
Thank you, Miss Boylan.
Library, sound off. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for
Thank you, Ms.
coming.
Bowler.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Ms. Blotter, thank you so much too. Thank you. All right. All right.
You turned off your everything goes up? Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk to you